In October of 2009, a simple Craigslist advertisement appeared online. It looked harmless, ordinary, easy money for anyone desperate enough to answer it. Wanted male assistant, $5,000. But behind that ad was something horrifying. A plan so disturbing that investigators would later describe it as one of the most shocking crimes in modern American history. A young man answered the ad and never came home. This is the story of the Craigslist killing that exposed a nightmare hidden behind the screen of everyday internet life. The internet changed the world forever. By the late 2000s, websites like Craigslist had become part of everyday American life. People used it to buy furniture, find apartments, sell old cars, and search for jobs. It felt normal, safe enough. Millions trusted it. But in the quiet suburbs of Connecticut, one Craigslist ad would become the center of a crime, so brutal that it shocked the entire United States. This is the story of the murder of Julissa Brisman and the man known as the Craigslist Killer. It began in Boston, Massachusetts, in 2009. At the center of the story was a 22-year-old medical student named Philip Markoff. To the people around him, Markoff appeared to have the perfect future. He was intelligent, polite, and successful. Friends described him as calm and focused. He was studying medicine at Boston University and preparing for a career where he would save lives. Even more surprising, he was engaged. His fiancée, Megan McAllister, believed she had found the perfect man. The couple had met years earlier while volunteering at a hospital. Their relationship seemed stable, loving, and normal. They were planning a wedding for the summer of 2009. From the outside, Philip Markoff looked like someone people admired. But investigators would later discover that behind the clean image was a hidden double life, and it all centered around Craigslist. At the time, Craigslist had a large erotic services section. People advertised adult services openly online, often meeting strangers in hotels or apartments. The system depended almost entirely on trust between strangers who had never met before. That vulnerability created the perfect opportunity for a predator. Police later believed that Markoff spent months secretly targeting women through the site. And then on April 14, 2009, everything changed. That evening, 25-year-old Julissa Brisman arrived at the Marriott Copley Place Hotel in Boston. Julissa was originally from New York City. She was vibrant, energetic, and known for her outgoing personality. Friends described her as warm and ambitious. She had dreams of becoming a massage therapist and was trying to build a better future for herself. Like many struggling during the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009, she used Craigslist to earn money through escort services. That night, she believed she was meeting a client. Instead, she walked directly into a trap. At around 10 p.m., surveillance cameras captured a tall young man entering the hotel. He wore a baseball cap. Security footage showed him moving calmly through the lobby, almost casually. Nothing about him seemed suspicious. Moments later, he entered Julissa's hotel room. What happened next was terrifying. Police believe the man attempted to rob her at gunpoint, but something went wrong. A struggle began. Then a gunshot echoed through the hotel hallway. Julissa Brisman was shot multiple times at close range. She staggered into the corridor, bleeding heavily, desperately trying to escape. Witnesses later described the horrifying scene. Julissa collapsed near the elevator while hotel guests screamed in panic. The killer fled. Despite emergency medical efforts, Julissa died shortly afterward. She was only 25 years old. Boston police immediately launched a major investigation. At first, detectives did not know who the killer was, but they quickly realized something important. This murder was not random. The suspect had specifically targeted women advertising on Craigslist. And then investigators discovered something even more disturbing. Just days before Julissa's murder, another woman had been attacked in a nearby hotel. On April 10th, only 4 days earlier, a woman in Rhode Island had also answered a Craigslist client request. When the man arrived, he pulled out a gun and robbed her. But unlike Julissa, she survived. The victim gave investigators a detailed description of the attacker. Young, white, clean-cut, polite, educated-looking. That detail shocked investigators. The suspect did not fit the stereotype people expected. He looked like an ordinary college student. Because he was one, the investigation intensified. Detectives began pulling hotel surveillance footage from multiple locations. They traced emails connected to Craigslist responses. Cell phone records were analyzed. Credit card activity was reviewed minute by minute. And slowly, the digital trail pointed toward one man, Philip Markoff. What investigators uncovered stunned everyone. Markoff had allegedly used multiple fake email accounts and prepaid phones to contact victims through Craigslist. He carefully arranged meetings at upscale hotels. He hid his identity behind fake names and disposable technology. To outsiders, he continued living a completely normal life. He attended medical school classes. He met with friends. He discussed wedding plans with his fiancée. Meanwhile, police believed he was hunting victims online. The contrast was chilling. How could someone training to become a doctor secretly commit violent crimes at night? That question haunted the public as the case exploded. exploded across national media. Soon, news outlets everywhere began calling him the Craigslist Killer, but investigators still needed enough evidence to arrest him. And then came the breakthrough. Surveillance footage from the Marriott Hotel showed the suspect touching doors, elevator buttons, and surfaces throughout the building. Police recovered fingerprints. The prints matched Philip Markoff. That changed everything. On April 20th, 2009, 6 days after Julissa Brisman's murder, police moved in. Markoff and his fiancée were driving to a casino in Connecticut when state police surrounded their vehicle on Interstate 95. The arrest happened suddenly and dramatically. Officers pulled him from the car while stunned drivers watched from nearby lanes. His fiancée had no idea what was happening. At first, she reportedly believed there had been some terrible mistake. Then police revealed the accusation: murder, armed robbery, kidnapping. The man she planned to marry was now accused of being a serial predator, connected to Craigslist crimes. Her entire world collapsed in seconds. As the investigation continued, the details became even darker. When police searched Markoff's apartment, they allegedly found hidden evidence linking him to the attacks. Investigators recovered a handgun believed to be connected to the crimes. They also found zip ties, duct tape, and other disturbing materials. But one question remained unanswered. Why? Why would a successful medical student risk everything? Markoff did not appear desperate for money. He came from a stable background. He had a future many people dreamed of. Yet prosecutors believed he was living a secret, compulsive life tied to gambling, manipulation, and violent fantasies. Some investigators suspected he enjoyed the power and control more than the robberies themselves. And that possibility terrified people, because it suggested something even darker than greed. The case quickly became national news. Television networks covered every detail obsessively. Newspapers printed Markoff's face across front pages nationwide. People were fascinated by the contradiction. He looked harmless, not like a monster, not like someone capable of murder. But experts warned that this exact assumption is what makes certain criminals so dangerous. Predators do not always appear frightening. Sometimes they appear trustworthy, normal, educated, friendly, and in the age of the internet, that illusion becomes even more powerful. The story also forced America to confront the dangers of online anonymity. By 2009, millions of strangers were arranging private meetings through the internet every day. Most encounters were harmless, but this case exposed how quickly trust could become deadly. For many people, Julissa Brisman's murder became a warning about a rapidly changing digital world where anyone could hide behind a screen name, and the fear spread fast, especially because investigators began examining whether Markoff may have attacked other victims who never came forward. Meanwhile, inside jail, Philip Markoff's behavior became increasingly bizarre. Reports claimed he attempted suicide multiple times while awaiting trial. He allegedly became obsessed with preserving his public image. According to investigators, he even scratched the word Megan into his skin after his fiancée ended their relationship. The wedding was canceled. The future he once had disappeared completely. Yet despite overwhelming evidence, Markoff pleaded not guilty. His trial promised to become one of the most closely watched criminal cases in America. But the public would never hear his full confession, because before the trial could begin, Philip Markoff made a final decision. On August 15, 2010, guards at the Nashua Street Jail in Boston discovered something horrifying. Philip Markoff was dead in his cell. He had taken his own life. Investigators later revealed the disturbing details. Markoff had used makeshift tools and plastic bags to suffocate himself. He carefully concealed his actions to avoid detection by guards. Near his body, officers reportedly found scattered photographs of his former fiancée. The scene shocked even experienced investigators. And with his death, many questions died with him. Because Philip Markoff never stood trial, some mysteries remain unresolved to this day. Did he commit additional crimes investigators never connected to him? What exactly motivated him? Was it addiction, sexual compulsion, psychological illness, sadism, or was it something no one fully understood? Experts still debate those questions years later. But one thing remains certain. Julissa Brisman lost her life because she trusted someone she met online. And that tragedy permanently changed how many Americans viewed internet safety. For Julissa's family, the media attention was painful. While headlines focused heavily on the Craigslist killer, loved ones wanted the world to remember the victim behind the story. Julissa was more than a headline, more than a crime scene. She was a daughter, a friend, a human being with dreams and a future that was stolen away. That reality is often forgotten in true crime stories. But it matters, because behind every infamous case is a real person whose life ended, violently and unfairly. The Craigslist killer case also transformed public conversations about online crime. After the murder, Craigslist faced enormous pressure over its adult services section. Critics argued the platform created dangerous opportunities for exploitation and violence. Eventually, Craigslist shut down found those sections entirely in the United States. The case became one of the earliest major warnings about how online anonymity could enable predators. Today, apps and websites connect strangers instantly across the world. Dating apps, marketplace apps, ride-sharing apps, private messaging platforms all depend on trust between people who often know nothing about each other. Most interactions remain safe, but cases like this remind us how fragile that safety can be. What makes the story so disturbing is not only the violence. It is the hidden duality. Philip Markoff did not appear evil. He looked like someone's classmate, someone's neighbor, someone you might trust immediately. And that is exactly why the case continues to haunt people years later. Because it forces us to ask an uncomfortable question. How well do we really know the people around us? In the end, the Craigslist Killer case became more than just a murder investigation. It became a symbol of a new era, an era where technology connected millions of people, while also creating new dangers nobody fully understood yet. A single online advertisement opened the door to tragedy. One click, one meeting, one decision, and multiple lives were destroyed forever. Even now, years later, the story remains deeply unsettling. Not because it happened in some dark alley or isolated place, but because it began somewhere ordinary, a website millions of people used every single day. That familiarity is what makes the case unforgettable. Because evil does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it arrives quietly, hidden behind a screen, waiting for someone to answer an ad. And by the time the truth is revealed, it is already too late.